Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. This is Rudy. Hey, my previous camera, it developed audio problems. There was like a ringing going on, and so I'm using a different camera tonight, and I'm gonna try to find even a better one than this, because this is nothing but a backup camera. But I don't really have a good camera right now. But anyway, the title of this video will be "White People Have No Culture," and you think I'm gonna put a link in the more information bar to a lady who has found a tremendous amount of racial overtones in third grade textbooks, and you should watch that other video. It's pretty amazing. But one of the things I picked up on when I read the information bar in her video was it said white people have no culture. Everything they got, they took from other cultures. And the reason that rung a bell with me is I used to have a good friend. We're not friends anymore, but he was Islamic, and I was Christian, and we really never had any issues, except he made the statement that white people have no culture. And at the time he said it, it really struck me, that's kind of a rude thing to say, but we were friends at the time, but he didn't say it even with an apologetic or, he just said it like it was a statement of fact. And I think that's, what's being taught in these Islamic mosques. It's what's being taught in the Hispanic schools, is that white people got no culture. Everything they got, they stole from other people. And, I know that America's not perfect, but that ain't, white people stealing from everybody else ain't what made America great. And that's the same thing with this zeitgeist crap with this Jacques Fresco guy. He won't say the Pledge of Allegiance, and his attitude is that, America became great because we raped and robbed and pillaged the rest of the world. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. What made America great was that we broke free from the tyranny of big government, and we freed the human spirit to prosper and to invent, and we had true laissez-faire capitalism. And the best defender of capitalism that I've ever seen is Ayn Rand. But I just wanted, that's the second time I've heard that statement, white people got no culture. First time was from used to be a good friend, and the second time was when I read it in that video, and I'll put the link in the information bar, and I suggest you look at that other video too. It's pretty amazing. But I want this book right here, Ecoscience. You guys see that? Hopefully you guys can see that. But Ecoscience, it's one of the three authors is John P. Holdren, and he's, I think, the co-chair of Obama's Science Czar, and he's an advisor to Obama, and he wrote this book back in 1977, but I still think, in my opinion, he probably holds a lot of these ideas today. And it's once you understand the Darwinistic thinking of these people and how they believe that, humans are parasites and the world population needs to be reduced, you start to, grasp how they think. And I wanted to read you some quotes from Ecoscience. This book normally goes for anywhere from $150 to $400. I've seen it all over the place because it's a very hard book to get a hold of. I happened to see it in a bookstore for $28, and when I saw it for $28, you can rest assured that I grabbed it as soon as possible. And so I got a very good deal on this book. And if you keep your eyes open, you might be able to get a good deal too. But you have to look for it. And a lot of people just don't know how valuable it is because it's full of such crazy language, and it was written by our current John Holdren, who's Obama's Science Czar. But I'll put a link in the information bar where you can, all of the screen captures of what I'm reading, and you can read a further details in what I'm going to read. But let me just read you some stuff from this book if you're interested, and this is amazing. This comes from our current a guy who holds a high position in government and advises the President of the United States. Okay, here we go. Although free and easy association of the sexes might be tolerated in such a society, responsible parenthood ought to be encouraged, and illegitimate childbearing could be strongly discouraged. Well, nobody wants illegitimate childbearing, so we do want to discourage that. We don't want people to be born out of wedlock, so I agree with that part. But here's where he goes a step further, right? One way to carry out this disapproval might be to insist that all illegitimate babies be put up for adoption, especially those born to minors, who generally are not capable of caring properly for a child alone. If a single mother really wished to keep her baby, she might be obliged to go through the adoption proceedings and demonstrate her ability to support and care for it. Adoption proceedings probably should remain more difficult for single people than married couples, in recognition of the relative difficulty of raising children alone. It would even be possible to require pregnant single women to marry or have abortions, perhaps as an alternative to placement for adoption, depending on the society. Wow, so John P. Holdren thinks that it's okay it might be possible to require pregnant single women to marry. We're going to require you to marry, or we're going to require you to have an abortion. That is some radical stuff. Okay, third paragraph, let me find it. Here we go. Here's another section on sterilization of women. A program of sterilizing women after their second or third child, despite the relatively greater difficulty of the operation than vasectomy, might be easier to implement than trying to sterilize men. This, of course, would be feasible only in countries where the majority of births are medically assisted. Unfortunately, such a program, therefore, is not practical for less developed countries. Although in China, mothers of 3 children are commonly expected to undergo sterilization. This is where it gets really weird. The development of a long-term sterilizing capsule that could be implanted under the skin and removed when pregnancy is desired opens additional possibilities for coercive fertility control. The capsule could be implanted at puberty and might be removable with official permission for a limited number of births. Man, I'm telling you, man. Here he talks about adding sterilization to the drinking water. Adding a sterilant to the drinking water or staple foods is a suggestion that seems to horrify people more than most proposals for involuntary fertility control. Yeah, it does horrify us, doesn't it? Indeed, this would pose some very difficult political, legal, and social questions, to say nothing of the technical problems. No such sterilant exists today. This is written in 1977. No such sterilant exists today, nor does one appear to be under development. To be acceptable, such a substance would have to meet some rather stiff requirements. It must be uniformly effective, despite widely varying doses received by individuals, and despite varying degrees of fertility and sensitivity among individuals. It must be free of dangerous and unpleasant side effects, and it must not have any effect on members of the opposite sex, children, old people, or livestock. So we can't hurt our livestock while we're putting sterilization drugs in the water. I mean, this guy, if you get into his brain, you can tell that he thinks of human beings as parasites, and we're just like cattle to be controlled. And you can sterilize us in the water, but most people think that's horrifying. But if once they get over that, it'll be all right. Let's see, second column, middle of second paragraph. Let me read this. Okay, where was it? Okay, here we go. Indeed, it has been concluded that compulsory population control laws, even including laws requiring compulsory abortion, could be sustained under the existing Constitution if the population crisis became sufficiently severe to endanger society. See, they believe the population is endangering society at large, and they think the Constitution of the United States could be used to implement population control mechanisms. Let's see. Second paragraph. Okay, if some individuals contribute to okay, here's another important thing. If some individuals contribute to the general social deterioration by overproducing children, and if the need is compelling, then they can be required by law to exercise reproductive responsibility, just as they can be required to exercise responsibility in their resource consumption patterns. They can be required if they have been deemed socially deteriorating society. So if you are considered socially deteriorating society, we need you to stop reproducing, because we can't have you reproducing and populating the earth with your terrible offspring. I could go on and on. Let's see what this one is. In today's world, second paragraph. Oh, in today's world, however, the number of children in a family is a matter of profound public concern. The law regulates other highly personal matters. For example, no one may lawfully have more than one spouse at a time. Why should the law not be able to prevent a person from having more than 2 children? Okay, so I'm going to put the link where you can see all the snapshots in this book, Ecoscience. But, that tells you the mentality of the people that are running our government. And they think of us as a parasite on the earth to be controlled and not freeing us as a human being, a human spirit. So I wanted to read a little bit about that. I wanted to mention why people got no culture. That gets a little old after a while. And I know that there's a lot of videos on the New Madrid fault. I don't know anything about it. So, I'm just not educated on the New Madrid fault, and I don't have a lot to say about it. I am keeping my eye on it. I don't receive words from the Lord, and so I just pray. I try to do the right thing every day. I think we should all plan to live 90 to 99 years old. I plan to prepare myself for the worst, but hope for the best. And I've tried to prepare, myself and my family, and I don't know what's coming. I think that we're in for some bad times, and I just try to live righteously, and I plan to live to be 99 years old. But I'm going to, try to educate myself and learn from people on YouTube, learn from people and learn from books, and continue to read the Bible and study the Word of the Lord, and do the best I can. And but is the world going to end on May 21st? Are we going to have a New Madrid earthquake? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I'm just going to get up every morning. I'm going to make the most of every day. I'm going to live my life and educate myself to the best of my ability. I'm going to be as righteous as I can to everyone that I meet. I'm going to try to be a godly example to everyone that I meet, and speak the truth every chance that I get. And I'm not going to be afraid, and I'm not going to bow down to this government. I will never bow down to this government. But anyway, that's my video for tonight. I need to get a better camera. So anyway, God bless every one of you, and take care. God bless.